In my last video, I explained a typical use case of WSO2 API Manager and the different types of users involved in it. In this video, we are going to implement it. Like I explained in the previous video, we need 3 different users for this. Let's name them Peter, David and Emma. Here, Peter will be the API publisher, David will be the application developer and Emma will be the end user. Now, let's suppose Peter's company collects weather data and they have exposed it as a service. This is the URL of that service. Now, let's try to access that. As you can see, this is an open service. That means anyone can access it. But Peter wants to secure this service. For that, Peter can expose this service as an API through WSO2 API Manager. Now let's see how we can do that. I have already created the user Peter. Here, as you can see, I have assigned internal creator and internal publisher role for this user. Now, let's go to the publisher portal. Now, Peter can log into the publisher portal to create an API for his service. Let's see how we can do that. We have to click on Add New API. There are several ways you can use to create APIs. We will explore all those options in a future video. I'm going to go with third option for now. Then I can give a name, context, and version for the API. And also I'm going to select an image for the API. Then I can define the resources for my API. I will only define a get resource for this weather API. Then I'm going to the next phase. Here now, I can give my real weather service URL. Then I'm going to the next phase. Here I have to select a subscription tier which will be available for the application developers to subscribe with. I will go into details of this too in a future video. For now, I am selecting unlimited and gold tiers. Then I can publish the API. Now, this API should be available in the store portal for the application developers to discover and use. That completes Peter's job. Now, let's look at our next user, David, who is an application developer. David is planning to develop a mobile app to expose weather data to his app users. For that, David will be using Peter's weather API behind the scene. I have already created the user David. As you can see, I have assigned internal subscriber role for that user. Now let's go to store portal. As you can see, public APIs are visible even without login, but you need to log in to subscribe and use those APIs. Now let's try to log into store portal with user David. Now let's subscribe to Peters with the API. Before that, we need to create an application to represent our weather app inside the API Manager. Let's create an application. Now let's subscribe to Peters with the API using newly created weather app. Here I can pick any tier I want. Usually these tiers come with a price tag and a request bundle for a given time period. The subscriber can pick a tier based on their requirement. I am going to use the gold tier for now. Now subscription is made. But to try out the API, we need to do one more thing. That is to generate a key. I can do it like this. Now you can see the application keys and access token generated here. Now we can try out the API. For that, I am going to the API console. You can try the API like this. When you try to invoke the API, if you get a message like this, that means it's a certificate issue. To resolve that, you can copy the gateway URL and accept the certificate like this. Now let's try again. It worked fine and you can see the response. Now David can use this weather API for his weather application. That completes David's job. Now we come to Emma, who is a user of David's weather mobile app. Emma will be asked to log into weather app when she opens it on her mobile phone. When she logs into the mobile app will be calling API Manager to get an access token on behalf of Emma. It's a simple HTTP call to the token API. Let's emulate that using the curl HTTP client. I have already created user Emma. As you can see, I have assigned internal everyone role for that user. Now let's prepare the curl commands. There are several grant types you can use to generate tokens. I will discuss them separately in a future video. For now, I am using the password grant type. For that, you need to provide the application's consumer key and the secret as well as the end user's username and password. This is a sample token request for curl. You have to replace username, password, consumer key and secret with the real values. Let's replace the values. In our example, David has to get the consumer key and the secret and embedded them in his mobile app. Now let's get the applications, consumer key and secret. Now let's invoke this. Now we got an access token for Emma. Like that, the mobile app can get an access token on behalf of Emma. Now the mobile app can access the weather API using the Emma's access token. Let's emulate that too using curl. I'm copying the access token to here. Now let's invoke this. Now you can see we got the response. That concludes this video.